Hey guys, so I'm Jess. Some of you may know me, some of you may not, but either way, hello. Today I'm just going to be starting something new. I really wanted to kind of do a daily vlog thing up until the Florida primaries, but I realized that might be a little bit stressful for myself. So I thought, what a better idea than to do a daily vlog until the Iowa primaries happen, because I really feel like people need to be informed. You know, this is the first major casting of votes, and as a Bernie Sanders supporter, I really don't think the media and the news outlets and all the other massive forms of, information are actually doing a good job in telling you what you need to know. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Every day up until the Iowa primaries, I'm going to be talking about something new. So every day, I think tomorrow's going to be about political campaign corruptness and financial systems and how they're rigged. I know, political stuff, so much fun. Oh God. I promise you it won't be that painful. They're going to be short, they're going to be concise, they're going to be to the point. I think that means the same thing. But my point is that they're going to teach you something valuable, and they're going to make you a better informed person. So when you cast your vote in these upcoming primaries, you're well informed, you're well educated, and you know the person you are going to vote for. I will, however, say that most of these videos are going to be geared toward Senator Bernie Sanders, because that's who I'm voting for, that's who I believe in. If you are not a fan of Senator Sanders, then I probably would not watch these videos. I would go find one of the other videos that are geared towards maybe one of the other candidates that you're interested in. But today, I'm going to be talking about Bernie Sanders. I'm going to be talking about why it is that I am personally voting for him and why I think that you should vote for him too. Hey, wait, okay, I know that there's one of you that are about to click off this video because ill politics, could we not? And the answer is no. We have to talk about this, because who's going to be in charge of our armed services, who's going to be making important decisions, who's going to run this country is important. Your voice matters, your vote matters, and you need to be well educated and informed. And I'm telling you that Bernie Sanders is the person to vote for. So while this next video that I'm going to make tomorrow is going to be about the campaign system and how it's corrupt, it's going to be more of a general topic and less about Bernie Sanders and more just about how things aren't the way they should be in a fair election. Today I am going to tell you about why it is that I'm voting for Bernie Sanders and why you should too. So without further ado, Kitty, are you ready? Here's why I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. Number 1, he's fair and consistent. Here is a man who is running in a campaign system rigged. Because usually those running for president know that they need the help of the people that are corrupt. You need the DNC. You need the people who have massive amounts of money like super PACs. You need billion-dollar corporations. You need politicians to support you, to get your name out there, to better your chance of winning, to get more votes, to get more airtime. These are the things that help you win president of the United States. And it doesn't matter that they're corrupt, because who cares? Who cares if you get massive amounts of money from corrupt politicians or corporations if it means more airtime and more votes and more everything, right? You know who cares? Senator Bernie Sanders. Here we have a guy starting a grassroots movement, a guy who's basing his campaign and his finances off individual contributions, the largest amount of individual contributions that we've seen for any presidential candidate ever, averaging $27 per person. Here we have a guy saying, I'm not going to accept your corrupt billion-dollar donation super PACs. I'm not going to accept the help of people who have been in the wrong side of history and in the pockets of other politicians. I'm not going to accept it because it's not honest and it's not fair and it's not what the people want. Bernie Sanders has been consistent and honest and has held his integrity all the way through his campaign and all the way through his career. So that's just one of the reasons why I'm voting for him. And this idea of fairness goes hand in hand with the next reason for why I'm voting for him. The fact that he is purely and wholeheartedly honest and consistent and on the right side of history. I mean, here's a guy who walked with Martin Luther King Jr., who organized sit-ins, who faced jail time for trying to end the segregation of schooling. Here's a guy who's always championed for minorities and the underprivileged and those facing extreme income and wealth inequality, who have been under the poverty line, who have been struggling despite the fact that they're working 40 hours or 2 jobs. Here's a man who voted against the war in Iraq, who has always and consistently been himself. It didn't matter that 15 years ago the popular opinion was to be against gay marriage, and people like Hillary Clinton were supporting things like the DOMA Act and reconfirming the idea that marriage was only between a man and a woman instead of people that just simply loved each other. Because Bernie Sanders 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, was saying the same things he's saying today. It didn't matter that back then it wasn't popular to believe in gay rights or it wasn't right. He has consistently been himself. He hasn't flip-flopped through history, he hasn't changed his mind based on the status quo. He's been preaching and rallying for people like minorities and people who face institutionalized racism, for people like the LGBTQA community, for people that Martin Luther King would have supported himself. Probably Jesus too. Bernie Sanders is the right guy for president because he's consistent, because he's honest and fair, and he holds on to his integrity and his morals. Because he's always been the person that he is. He's been a human before a politician. He's preached for the people who need it. He's championed for the people who deserve it. Bernie Sanders is a wholehearted human being, fighting for the rights and the individual freedoms that the people deserve. So I'll leave you with this. You wouldn't hire a construction worker to do your open heart surgery, right? Because on some level, you know as a rational human being that a certain job requires a certain amount of knowledge and experience to do it well. And excuse me if I think being president should be one of those things. If you don't know anything about foreign policy, if you don't understand how government works, if you can't deal with other countries and other cultures and other people, you shouldn't be president. Being president, being the person who's going to be in command of our armed services, who's going to have the nuclear codes, should be a person with integrity and honesty, who's going to lead the people and be for the people, who's going to work for us each and every step of the way. Being president of the United States should require a certain amount of experience and knowledge in how politics work and how government works and how the military works and how veterans' lives are now and during times of war and struggle. Bernie Sanders understands all these things. He's the head of the VA committee. He's a senator. He's been in politics for over 30 years. He's been himself in politics for over 30 years. Bernie Sanders is the right guy because he has the right knowledge, he has the right experience, and he has the right part. And I'm not just talking about politics and government, I'm talking about being a person. He has family that were in the Holocaust. His parents were Polish immigrants. He lived in rent-controlled housing. He knows what it means to be middle class. He knows what it means to work. Bernie Sanders is our guy, I'm telling you. And I just really urge you, on a wholehearted, serious note, look into him. Don't just listen to the media outlets that are giving you what they're designed to give you, bullshit. Do your research. Look into the past lives of the people who are running. And you'll see that Bernie Sanders is the most honest, consistent human being running for president. Somewhat into the video, and so I know that there's one of you out there who are like somewhat into the video and